when life feels like it's closing in from every direction and nothing makes sense anymore, that's often when Allah's plan is quietly unfolding. You may not see progress, but beneath what feels like stillness, He's moving everything into place, hearts, moments, and opportunities that will arrive right on time. What feels delayed is actually being perfected, crafted with wisdom only Allah can see. True trust begins when sight ends. Faith isn't about watching everything go right. It's about believing in the one who never does wrong. Allah knows the path even when you feel lost on it. Every unanswered prayer, every pause, every silence is filled with His mercy. The path that looks hidden to you is already clear in His plan, a plan that will reveal itself not a moment too soon and never a moment too late. Delays are not denials. They are divine pauses designed with wisdom far beyond our understanding. You may be asking Allah for something right now with all your heart, a dream, a person, an opportunity, but He holds it back because He knows the weight of it might crush you if it arrived too soon. What feels like a door that won't open is often a mercy protecting you from walking into something you cannot yet carry. Allah's timing is not measured by the ticking of our clocks. It is measured by the readiness of our hearts. The Almighty doesn't withhold because He enjoys your waiting. He withholds because His love refuses to give you something that will harm you before it helps you. If He gave you everything the moment you asked, you would mistake comfort for growth and convenience for maturity. The seasons of waiting are sacred. They stretch your patience, polish your faith, and purify your intentions. Allah may delay what you want until you truly understand why you want it. In that stillness, He tests whether your longing is for the gift or for the giver Himself. The longer you wait, the more you begin to realize that what you're truly seeking is closeness to Him, not the thing you thought you needed. There are times you'll feel forgotten, as if your prayers have gone unanswered. Yet, every supplication uttered sincerely is recorded, guarded, and responded to in the most perfect way. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, taught us that no prayer goes unheard. It is either granted immediately, delayed for wisdom, or stored as reward in the hereafter. Delay is not silence, it is a softer kind of answer, one wrapped in mercy. The delay builds a strength within you that ease never could. Through waiting, your heart learns endurance, your soul learns humility, and your mind learns surrender. You begin to see that life isn't about controlling outcomes, but about trusting the one who already knows the outcome. In this surrender, your heart finds peace even before the blessing arrives. Allah protects you in ways you may never notice. He blocks certain roads, hides certain faces, and delays certain plans, not because He is punishing you, but because He is preparing you. He sees the storm that lies ahead while you only see the sunshine you desire. His protection often comes disguised as disappointment. Many people pray for things that would destroy them if given too early. A person prays for wealth but is not yet disciplined to handle it. Another prays for success but cannot yet handle the pressure that comes with it. Allah delays to strengthen the foundation before He builds the tower. If He gives before you're ready, the gift itself could become your downfall. The delay is not empty, it's filled with lessons. It teaches gratitude before arrival, humility before achievement, and balance before abundance. The one who learns through delay walks into their blessing with wisdom, not arrogance, with gratitude, not entitlement. The waiting transforms the heart so that the gift becomes a means to serve Allah, not to forget Him. Faith deepens in the unseen. When you continue to believe without seeing results, that is when your belief matures. Allah loves those who trust Him even when the evidence is against them. That quiet conviction, that unshaken faith is more valuable than the blessing itself. It is what keeps your soul anchored in storms and your heart steady in uncertainty. Every delay has a purpose. It may be shielding you from harm, reshaping your character, or aligning circumstances beyond your knowledge. You do not need to see what Allah sees to trust that His plan is perfect. The one who created time is never late. The one who knows all hearts never forgets a single one. At times, the waiting is a purification. Allah may delay because the heart that is asking is still clinging to pride, anger, or impatience. He holds back not to punish but to cleanse, to prepare a space for the blessing that will soon arrive. You cannot pour pure water into a vessel filled with dust. The delay is the cleansing of that vessel. In your frustration, whisper to yourself, if it was truly mine, Allah would bring it to me. If it is delayed, it's being refined. This mindset transforms waiting into worship. You stop counting the days and start collecting the lessons. You stop demanding from Allah and start discovering His mercy in the pause. True believers understand that delay is part of the journey of trust. It's easy to believe in Allah when things come quickly, but faith is proven in the quiet seasons, in the long nights where your only companion is dua. That's where love for Allah is forged, not in ease but in endurance. Allah's mercy operates on divine timing. He will never rush what needs to grow. A fruit picked too early loses its sweetness. A believer blessed too soon loses their grounding. So Allah waits, not because He forgets, but because He wants you to taste the fullness of what He's preparing. Delays also protect you from arrogance. If success came immediately, many hearts would grow proud and forget the jiva. Allah delays to remind you who is truly in control, so that when He does bless you, you bow in gratitude, not pride. Every delay humbles you, molds you, and draws you closer to Him. The waiting season is the unseen training ground of the soul. Every unanswered prayer teaches reliance. Every prolonged silence teaches submission. In that time, Allah may strip away your reliance on people, wealth, or timing until your heart depends on nothing but Him. That is the real victory hidden within the delay. When Allah finally opens the door, it will make sense why the wait was necessary. But the goal is not just to reach the moment of relief, it is to emerge from the waiting with a heart more patient, a soul more content, and a faith more unshakable. The delay becomes a chapter of transformation, not frustration. The people of faith understand that the best gifts from Allah are never rushed, they are timed to perfection. Every prophet went through waiting. Yusuf in the well, Musa before the sea, and Muhammad, peace be upon him, in the cave, all delayed but never denied. Each delay held the weight of destiny. So if you find yourself waiting, don't despair. You are not forgotten, you are being fortified. What you asked for may not be withheld, it may simply be waiting for you to become the person ready to receive it. And when Allah finally grants it, it will come with peace, purpose, and permanence, because it arrived through patience, not haste. The delay that frustrates you today might be the very thing that saves you tomorrow. Trust that the one who loves you most knows when to give, how to give, and what to give. The delay is not working against you, it's working times for times you. It's Allah's gentle way of saying, I am not denying you, I am protecting you until you're ready. Every journey designed by Allah is lined with lessons, not just destinations. The path you imagined may seem straight and smooth, but Allah often leads you through turns and detours that you never expected. What you see as a diversion is often the very route that carries you closer to what He has written for you. His wisdom chooses roads that your limited sight would never choose, yet every twist carries divine purpose. You may feel as though you've strayed too far from your dream. The plan you drew in your heart seems to fade as new challenges appear. Yet those challenges are not proof that you've lost your way. They are the signs that Allah is guiding you differently. The unseen roads are still roads of destiny, shaped with mercy, leading toward what you were meant to reach. Faith means trusting Allah even when your map no longer makes sense. The believer walks not by what he sees but by what he knows, that Allah never misguides a sincere heart. The hidden paths are not mistakes, they are tests of patience, reminders that true guidance is not found in knowing every step, but in believing that each step is being watched and directed from above. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, faced countless obstacles before victory came. Each pause, each hardship, and each shift in direction was part of the divine script. If the Messenger of Allah walked through hidden valleys before reaching triumph, what makes us think our own paths will be clear from the start? The unseen journey refines your heart to recognize Allah, not just your goal. Allah conceals parts of the journey to preserve your humility. If you could see every step ahead, you might rely on your knowledge instead of His guidance. The hiddenness keeps your heart awake, your prayers sincere, and your dependence constant. It is through the unknown that faith is exercised, and through surrender that peace is born. You may pray for clarity, yet Allah grants you confusion, not to burden you, but to teach you reliance. The roads you do not understand are the ones that reveal who you truly are. It is easy to believe when the path is clear, but it takes a heart rooted in faith to walk in darkness with conviction that Allah's light is near. The detours in life are not accidents. They redirect your focus from worldly control to divine surrender. Each hidden turn is an invitation to remember that you are not the author of your journey. You are the traveler following a map drawn by the one who knows every terrain. When you accept that, every delay becomes easier to endure, every mystery easier to trust. Many people lose hope when the route changes. They think their prayers failed or their dreams expired. Yet, what they don't realize is that Allah sometimes leads them through valleys to shield them from storms they could not see. The hidden path protects more than it confuses. What appears uncertain to you is crystal clear to Him. Even the smallest change in your plan is not random. The person you met unexpectedly, the job that didn't work out, the journey that was postponed, each carries meaning. Allah rearranges circumstances to steer your life into alignment with His mercy. Every unseen step is a piece of a grander plan that your limited mind cannot yet comprehend. In your frustration, whisper to your heart, Allah is not lost in your confusion. You may not know where you're going, but He knows exactly where He's leading you. The unseen path is still sacred, still guided, and still written with perfection. Your duty is not to predict, but to persevere, not to demand clarity, but to walk with trust. The hidden path often brings you closer to Allah than the visible one ever could. In the unseen journey, you talk to Him more, you rely on Him more, and you feel His presence more deeply. The confusion becomes the connection. The struggle becomes the signal that you are being drawn toward the source, not away from it. The most profound growth happens in the uncertainty. It is in the valleys of confusion where you discover the strength you never knew you had. The unseen road humbles you, molds you, and teaches you that success is not reaching the top of the mountain, but learning how to keep walking even when the way disappears into mist. The hidden paths are meant to separate you from what distracts your soul. Allah conceals what you wanted to give you, what you needed. You may not recognize it as a gift because it came wrapped in discomfort, but its purpose is to pull you closer to truth, away from illusions that would have consumed your heart. Every unseen turn is a chance to discover Allah's mercy in new ways. When you lose direction, He shows you how to pray differently. When you feel weak, He teaches you how to rely sincerely. The hidden path is not silent. It is full of divine whispers calling you to patience, gratitude, and remembrance. Do not mistake darkness for distance. The night only appears when the sun has shifted, not disappeared. Likewise, Allah's guidance does not vanish when you can't see it, it only changes form. The hidden path is simply His light covered, not removed, guiding you through stillness rather than clarity. Many blessings enter your life disguised as uncertainty. The unseen route may lead to friendships, wisdom, and strength that the straight road would never offer. You may not reach your dream immediately, but you will reach maturity, peace, and closeness to Allah, and that is far more valuable than any worldly goal. The unseen path trains your heart to be patient. Patience is not the absence of movement, but the acceptance of divine pace. Each step you take, even in confusion, is counted. Each tear shed in dua is recorded. Every sigh of surrender is rewarded. Allah never lets a step of faith go to waste, no matter how lost it feels. When you learn to trust the hidden journey, peace begins to dwell within you. You stop rushing outcomes and start focusing on obedience. You stop asking why and start saying Alhamdulillah. That is when you realize the hidden paths were never detours, they were the exact way you were meant to walk. The hidden journey shapes your inner world. It turns fear into faith, control into surrender, and expectation into contentment. It strips away what distracts and reveals what truly matters. By the time the road becomes clear, you are no longer the same person who began it. The path may have been hidden, but its purpose was always to transform you. So, even when you do not understand, keep moving with trust. Every unseen path, every unexpected turn, every confusing moment is still part of the divine journey written for you. The road may be invisible to your eyes, but it is perfectly visible to the one who leads you. What is hidden from you is never hidden from Him, and that is where faith finds its home. Silence from Allah can be the hardest test a believer endures. You pour your heart out in prayer, asking, crying, and hoping for an answer, but all you meet is stillness. It feels as if your words have vanished into the air. Yet, in that silence, Allah is teaching a language only the faithful can hear, the language of trust without evidence, faith without sight, and love without reassurance. The silence of Allah is not His absence, it is His nearness cloaked in wisdom. The Almighty does not ignore you. He listens to every whisper that escapes your heart. But His responses are not always verbal, nor are they always immediate. His silence often carries deeper meaning than the answers we seek. Through that stillness, He purifies your intention and aligns your heart with His divine timing. Many souls mistake the quiet for neglect, yet silence can be the sound of mercy. It prevents you from rushing into harm. It delays what would destroy you, and it refines your patience until it becomes unshakable. The silence of Allah is not empty. It is filled with hidden activity, with unseen arrangements being made for your good. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, endured long periods where revelation paused. He did not lose hope, nor did he question his Lord's care. That divine silence carried profound lessons, that faith is not only built through speech, but through stillness, not only through hearing, but through waiting. The silence became a teacher, shaping him with patience and resilience. When Allah is silent, He is inviting you to listen differently. The stillness urges you to turn inward, to purify your dua, and to discover whether your faith depends on answers or on the one who answers. In the silence, sincerity is exposed. The question becomes not will Allah respond, but will I remain faithful even if He delays? The human heart longs for clarity, yet Allah often gives growth instead. Through the quiet, He removes the noise that distracts you from your purpose. The silence makes space for reflection, for humility, and for rediscovering your dependence on Him. Every unanswered prayer is a doorway to deeper understanding, if only you remain patient long enough to step through it. In the silence, Allah teaches that prayer is not a transaction but a connection. The goal is not to obtain but to submit. He may delay His reply so that your dua becomes constant, your remembrance becomes sincere, and your heart becomes anchored in His mercy rather than His gifts. That is how silence transforms into guidance. You may not see the wisdom of His silence now, but faith asks you to believe that it is for your good. Allah's delay is never in vain. His stillness is never without meaning. Every quiet moment is a stitch in a greater design that only time and reflection will reveal. To trust during that silence is to walk by the light of unseen wisdom, that many times silence is an answer. It may be Allah's way of saying, not yet, or even not this. What feels like neglect is often redirection. He knows the prayers that will harm you if answered, and so He keeps them unanswered, not to deprive, but to protect. The silence is a shield from what your heart cannot yet comprehend. Through His silence, Allah is teaching endurance. He strengthens your patience until your worship becomes unconditional. You learn to love Him not for what He gives, but for who He is. That kind of faith cannot be shaken by circumstance. It is built on submission, not on satisfaction. Such strength is only born in the silence of unanswered prayers. The silence of Allah cleanses your heart from worldly attachments. When you stop hearing immediate responses, you begin to look beyond the world for reassurance. The longing you feel becomes a spiritual mirror reflecting your dependence. This emptiness, though painful, is sacred. It draws you nearer to the one who truly fills hearts. Every believer faces a time when the heavens seem quiet. Yet, those who hold firm discover that the silence carries divine intimacy. It's in those quiet nights that tears fall, du'as deepen, and sincerity blossoms. The absence of noise becomes the space where the soul meets its Creator without distractions. Allah's silence also humbles the heart. It reminds you that you are not in control, that answers are not earned but granted. This humility keeps your faith grounded. You begin to realize that your prayers are not about changing Allah's plan, but about changing your heart to accept it. That realization is a treasure found only in silence. The stillness of Allah refines the quality of your supplication. Repeated requests made in the silence transform your tone from demanding to pleading, from expecting to surrendering. The dua that once came from impatience begins to flow from contentment. That transformation is the real answer, far greater than what you initially sought. In the quiet, Allah may also be testing your love. Do you love Him for His gifts or for His presence? The silence strips away every superficial layer of devotion until only genuine faith remains. You start to pray not to get something, but because you cannot imagine not speaking to Him. That is spiritual maturity born through silence. The world teaches impatience. Allah teaches stillness. In the silence, you learn to slow your thoughts, to listen to your soul, and to surrender to divine will. Each pause becomes an act of trust, a declaration that even without clear answers, you believe in His perfection. That surrender is the essence of true peace. Every silence from Allah contains a lesson tailored to your heart. Some silences are meant to heal, others to humble, and some to awaken you to a deeper truth. What you interpret as distance might be preparation. What feels like emptiness might be the clearing of space for something greater to arrive. To understand His silence, you must believe that He sees what you cannot. He knows the full picture, your past wounds, your hidden fears, and your future trials. His silence is part of that knowledge, ensuring that what comes to you arrives only when it will benefit you most. The wisdom of Allah never misses its moment. As the silence continues, keep praying. Not because you are certain of the outcome, but because you are certain of His mercy. The silence is not a barrier, it is a bridge. Every prayer whispered into stillness reaches the one who hears all, sees all, and knows all. Your patience in that silence is itself a form of worship. And when the silence finally breaks, not with words, but with understanding, you will realize that Allah was never quiet. He was speaking through delay, guiding through stillness, and answering through transformation. The silence you once feared was actually His wisdom at work, shaping your heart to recognize that He was with you all along. Loss has a way of shaking the soul. It tears through our certainty, forcing us to face questions we never wanted to ask. You may wonder why Allah took away something you loved so deeply, a person, a dream, an opportunity, but His wisdom often hides within the very things that break you. What left you was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to make space for what was written for you. Every loss carries a lesson crafted by divine hands. What feels like an ending is often the start of a hidden beginning. Allah removes attachments that would block your growth even when you cannot see it. His plan is not about comfort but completion. You were not created to hold on to everything. You were created to trust that whatever departs does so by His mercy, not by mistake. When something precious leaves your life, your heart feels empty, yet emptiness is sometimes the soil where faith begins to grow. Allah may strip away what you relied on so you can rediscover that your true source of strength was never in people, possessions or plans, but in Him. That realization, though painful, is liberation. Loss tests the depth of belief. It is easy to thank Allah for what He gives, but true faith is shown in how you respond to what He takes. Every believer who endured loss, from the prophets to the pious, emerged stronger, not because the pain vanished, but because they saw the wisdom beyond it. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, buried loved ones, faced rejection, and still smiled with trust in Allah's plan. The things that leave are not always punishments, they can be preparations. Allah knows what lies ahead. He removes what will burden you in the future, even if that thing comforts you now. The loss you mourn today may be saving you from greater grief tomorrow. His mercy often appears as subtraction, not addition. Your heart might ache for what was, but Allah is gently guiding you toward what will be. His way of blessing you is not always by giving more, sometimes it is by taking away. You cannot receive what is destined for you while your hands are still clinging to what was never yours. The loss is the release that allows your destiny to unfold. Every tear that falls because of loss is counted. Allah does not waste your pain. He transforms it into purification. Through loss, He softens your heart, humbles your ego, and teaches you how to love without attachment. What you lost may have held your heart, but He wants your heart to hold Him instead. It is through losing that you truly learn surrender. When everything you planned collapses, you are left with only one truth: Allah remains. The temporary fades to reveal the eternal. In that awareness, your pain begins to carry purpose. You realize that nothing was taken from you except what could no longer serve your soul. The path of faith is not meant to be free from loss. It is meant to be guided through it. Every loss is a doorway that leads you closer to Allah's design. You might not understand why He removed something now, but the same wisdom that wrote your beginning has written this moment with care. Trust that His pen does not slip. Many blessings arrive disguised as loss. What breaks you may be breaking the walls that confined you. The emptiness you feel is not a void, it is an invitation, a space being cleared for something greater. Allah never removes without intending to replace, and His replacements are always better, even if your eyes cannot yet recognize them. Sometimes you lose what you wanted to gain, what you needed. The heart resists, the mind protests, but Allah's decree is perfect. He removes distractions, people, and plans not to leave you alone, but to lead you to a state of spiritual clarity. Through loss, He teaches you what truly matters and who truly remains. It is easy to think you've been abandoned, but Allah never abandons those who remember Him. The loss you face may isolate you from the world, yet that isolation is sacred. In that solitude, your conversations with Him become deeper. You begin to find peace not in the presence of people, but in the presence of prayer. Every pain has a divine purpose. Allah never allows loss without reason. He may remove something to protect your faith, to awaken your heart, or to shift your direction. The pain is temporary, but the lesson lasts a lifetime. His mercy works in ways that our logic cannot comprehend. Your heart might struggle to accept But one day your soul will understand that what left your life did not belong to your destiny. The world teaches you to hold on. Faith teaches you to let go. In releasing what you cannot keep, you make room for what was always meant to stay: peace, purpose, and closeness to Allah. The loss you grieve over today might be the answer to prayers you once made unknowingly. You asked for strength, so He took away what made you weak. You asked for faith, so He removed what distracted you from Him. You asked for peace, so He cleared away the noise. Loss becomes the means by which your dua is fulfilled. Allah's wisdom surrounds every separation. Even if you feel broken, He is rebuilding you in ways unseen. The fragments of your heart are being reshaped into something stronger, more sincere, more capable of carrying His light. The pain you feel is not your ending, it is the polishing of your soul. The truth is, you cannot lose what was written for you. If it left, it was never truly yours. And if it is meant for you, no power on earth can keep it away. Allah's decree is absolute, and His timing is flawless. Every loss only removes what stands between you and what is destined to arrive. Faith transforms loss into trust. Instead of asking, why did this happen? You begin to say, what is Allah teaching me through this? That shift in mindset turns sorrow into strength. The believer does not lose, the believer evolves. The hand of Allah is present in every departure and every return. In the stillness after loss, a new strength is born, a strength that comes from knowing that Allah never takes without intending to give better. Every ending in this world carries within it the seed of a beginning written by divine mercy. What you lost was not the conclusion of your story, it was the clearing of your path for what's truly meant for you. So hold your heart with patience. The emptiness will not last forever. Allah never leaves a space unfilled for long. In His perfect wisdom, what you thought was gone was only making room for what was always meant to arrive. What you lost was clearing the way for what was written, and what is written will find its way to you. Just as surely as His promise is true, before every fall, there is a mercy already in motion. Long before your strength begins to fade, Allah has already written support into your story. The help you cannot see surrounds you in ways you may never recognize. A delay that saves you, a closed door that shields you, or a person whose words remind you to hold on. His protection doesn't always arrive with noise. It often comes quietly, through timing, through wisdom, through what never even reached you. Allah's help is not bound by your awareness. While you are worrying about what's collapsing, He is already reinforcing what will hold you up. The unseen assistance of Allah operates before your need becomes visible, before your heart calls out in desperation. The one who knows your thoughts before you think them has already arranged the answers long before the question was formed. You may believe you are standing alone, yet the unseen world is working in your favor. Angels are guarding, destiny is aligning, and divine mercy is flowing silently beneath the surface. Allah's care is not only in what He gives you, but in what He protects you from without your knowledge. Every prevented harm, every diverted danger, every unnoticed escape is His unseen help in action. The story of faith is filled with unseen protection. When Musa stood before the sea, the miracle did not begin at the water's edge. It began long before, when Allah inspired his mother to place him in the river. Help was set in motion years before he would need it. That is how Allah works. His mercy precedes your fear, and His plan precedes your pain. Many of us think Allah only helps when we cry out, yet He is already at work before the tear forms. He is the Lord who knows the fall before it happens, the weakness before it shows, the fear before it surfaces. His protection begins in silence, crafting a path that will catch you before you even know you are slipping. The unseen help of Allah often arrives disguised as ordinary events. You miss a bus, you lose an opportunity, or a friendship ends and you feel disappointed. Yet behind that disappointment is divine redirection, sparing you from harm that would have come had things gone as you wanted. What feels like misfortune is often mercy dressed in disguise. Even in your lowest moments, Allah's help never stops. While you are breaking down in prayer, unseen forces are moving in your favor. The response might not appear immediately, but that does not mean it hasn't begun. The unseen realm operates by divine timing, precise, patient, and perfect. Help from Allah doesn't always arrive the way you expect. Sometimes it's not a solution, but a strength. Instead of removing the hardship, He gives you resilience. Instead of ending the storm, He gives you shelter within it. His unseen help strengthens the heart more than it changes the circumstance. And through it, you learn that endurance is also mercy. Allah's help may come through people you barely know, through words you didn't expect, or through opportunities that seem small but save you from something greater. Every act of goodness that reaches you has been written as part of a divine system of care. You are never unattended. You are constantly being guarded, guided, and given what you need to stand firm in the unseen world. Allah commands creation in ways beyond our comprehension. The wind, the timing, the meeting of two paths, all can become instruments of His mercy. He is Al-Latif, the subtle one whose help is so gentle that you may not even recognize it until long after the danger has passed. Every believer has been saved by unseen help countless times without realizing it. How many times did you avoid harm without knowing? How many disasters were averted while you carried on unaware? Allah's mercy envelops you not because of your awareness, but because of His compassion. His care does not depend on your recognition. It flows from His divine generosity. The unseen help of Allah also works through delay. He may hold you in one place longer than you wish, only to ensure you arrive exactly where you are meant to be. What feels like stagnation is often divine protection. He slows your steps to protect your soul, to realign your direction, and to deliver you safely to the destination written for you. Allah's unseen help extends beyond this world. Each act of patience, every prayer whispered in exhaustion, and every tear shed in faith is recorded. Angels are commanded to bring comfort, to intercede, to protect, even when no one else sees your struggle. You are never alone, even when the world grows quiet around you. The unseen assistance of Allah works in layers. While one mercy protects you externally, another is healing you internally. He doesn't just stop your fall, He strengthens your foundation so you can rise again. His help doesn't only shield you from pain, it transforms the pain into wisdom, the hardship into gratitude. Sometimes His help arrives through prevention. You wanted something deeply, yet it was withheld. You felt frustrated, unaware that receiving it might have led to harm. Allah's protection often comes in the form of no. The denial you grieved was actually the hand of mercy, saving you from what you could not see. The unseen help of Allah also comes through remembrance. When you are lost in confusion, a verse comes to your mind, or a moment of clarity reminds you that you are not forgotten. These gentle reminders are divine interventions, whispers from your Lord calling you back to peace. Even before you ask, Allah prepares your heart to receive. The thoughts that lead you to make dua are themselves a form of help. He inspires the prayer before He grants the answer, guiding your tongue to seek what He has already decreed for you. That synchronization of heart and destiny is one of the greatest signs of His nearness. When you feel like you're falling, remember that the fall itself has limits, boundaries set by the most merciful. You may descend into hardship, but you will never be left without His support. The same Lord who decreed your trials has already written your recovery. The help is not coming, it is already present, unfolding in ways unseen. Faith is recognizing that Allah's help doesn't start at your request, it starts at His will. He knew your path before you began walking it, and He placed mercy along the way like stepping stones to keep you from despair. Every loss, every pause, every delay hides His protection beneath it. The unseen help that arrives before the fall is proof of divine love. Allah never lets His servants fall without cushioning the descent. Even in what appears as failure, His care surrounds you. Trust that before you stumbled, He had already placed mercy beneath your feet. His help may be unseen, but it is never absent. For the one who sustains your breath will never let your soul fall unguarded. Waiting is one of the greatest teachers Allah uses to shape the soul. It is in those long stretches of uncertainty where nothing seems to move that your faith is quietly refined. You may feel forgotten, but that stillness is sacred. Allah uses delay to develop the strength that quick answers could never give. The waiting season is not wasted time. It is divine construction, building your patience, humility, and trust. In every season of waiting, Allah is preparing something within you before He delivers something to you. The heart that rushes is not yet ready to receive. The waiting softens your impatience and deepens your sincerity. It is through those silent days of unanswered prayer that your love for Allah becomes purified, no longer based on results, but on relationship. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, endured years of uncertainty before every triumph. The waiting was never punishment, it was preparation. Allah could have granted victory instantly, but He allowed time to strengthen character, sharpen vision, and solidify faith. Likewise, the delay in your life is not denial. It is a divine classroom where your soul learns endurance. In waiting, the heart wrestles between hope and despair. Every day becomes a test of which voice you choose to believe, Allah's promise or your impatience. It is through this tension that faith grows muscles strong enough to carry the weight of destiny. What is being built in silence will one day sustain you in storms. The waiting season strips you of control. It reminds you that results are not yours to dictate. You begin to learn that faith is not proven by how loud you pray, but by how long you trust. When nothing changes externally, your heart learns to change internally. That's the real miracle unfolding within the delay. Waiting forces you to confront your dependence. You begin to see how fragile your plans are and how constant Allah's plan has always been. The silence becomes a mirror, showing whether your faith was rooted in outcomes or in submission. The longer the wait, the clearer that reflection becomes. Allah delays not because He forgets, but because He is perfecting. He withholds not to test your pain, but to polish your heart. What He is building inside you is far more important than what you are waiting for outside you. The believer's waiting is never empty. It is filled with unseen work, where trust becomes worship and patience becomes strength. The waiting season is also where you meet yourself. Without distractions, you begin to notice your thoughts, your attachments, and your desires. You learn to align them with Allah's will instead of your own. That inner realignment is a hidden blessing. It transforms the waiting from a burden into a form of purification. Faith deepens in the pause between dua and response. That space tests your consistency. Will you continue to pray even when you don't see results? Each repeated supplication refines the heart, teaching you that dua is not about demanding answers, but maintaining connection. In that repetition, your soul learns stillness. Waiting seasons reveal who truly believes. It is easy to have faith when doors open quickly. It takes spiritual maturity to keep trusting when every door remains shut. That is why Allah places you in prolonged waiting, not to frustrate you, but to distinguish between those who seek His gifts and those who seek Him. Your waiting is also Allah's mercy protecting your timing. You may be ready emotionally but not circumstantially, or ready physically but not spiritually. Allah synchronizes everything so that the blessing arrives only when it will benefit, not harm. The delay ensures that you and the gift meet at the right moment, not just any moment. Your gratitude matures. If every prayer was answered immediately, gratitude would lose its depth. But waiting makes every blessing feel like a treasure when it finally arrives. You learn to cherish the smallest mercy because you've known the silence before it. That is how Allah turns delay into devotion. The waiting period also reveals your endurance in obedience. Many people worship passionately at the beginning of a trial, but their faith fades with time. Allah prolongs the waiting to test whether your worship depends on outcome or conviction. The one who continues in prayer despite silence is the one who truly trusts in divine wisdom. Waiting exposes impatience and heals it through repetition. Each dawn that passes without change teaches resilience. Each night that ends in prayer instead of despair proves growth. Faith is not built in comfort, it is forged in persistence. Every day of waiting is a page in the story of spiritual strength. Through waiting, Allah humbles the heart. You realize you are not the author of your story. That humility replaces anxiety with peace. You stop trying to control the timeline and begin to rest in divine timing. That surrender is not defeat. It is the essence of faith, trusting that Allah knows what you need and when you need it. The waiting season also brings hidden blessings. During those months or years of uncertainty, Allah may be protecting you from unseen harm, preparing people around you, or aligning circumstances beyond your awareness. You are being positioned, not postponed. The unseen hand of mercy is arranging everything perfectly. When Allah keeps you waiting, He is also cultivating empathy. You begin to understand the pain of others, to pray more sincerely for them, to show compassion born from your own stillness. The waiting softens arrogance and replaces it with humility and kindness, qualities Allah loves. The waiting is not a pause in progress. Times progress. Every day you remain patient. Your faith is being trained to trust beyond reason. The workshop of waiting is where you learn that true success is not in getting what you want, but in staying steadfast until Allah decides the time is right. Through the waiting season, your relationship with Allah becomes more intimate. You learn to whisper your pain, to find comfort in remembrance, and to see patience as a form of love. You realize that every second spent waiting in faith is already a reward because it brings you closer to the one you're waiting for. And when the waiting season finally ends, you will not just receive what you prayed for, you will receive a new version of yourself, purified, strengthened, and wiser. The workshop of faith will have completed its task. The delay was never a punishment. It was the process that transformed you. Allah was never withholding. He was preparing you for what was always meant to be yours. There are seasons in life where everything stands still. Your efforts bring no visible results. Your prayers seem unanswered, and the silence stretches longer than you can bear. It feels as though the world has stopped listening, as though your path has frozen. Yet even in that stillness, Allah is moving in ways your eyes cannot see. His wisdom is never idle. His plan never sleeps. When nothing moves, faith becomes your only motion. The heart that believes keeps walking even when the road disappears. Allah is never absent in your stillness. He is rearranging circumstances, mending what broke inside you, and aligning what must meet you at the right moment. His mercy is active even in what appears stagnant. Stillness is not emptiness, it is preparation. The pause is not proof of abandonment, but a reminder that divine timing cannot be rushed. You may see no movement, yet the unseen world is shifting. Allah's decree travels silently, shaping the details of your destiny while your heart learns patience. It is in the motionless seasons that faith is truly tested. Anyone can trust while witnessing progress, but faith shines brightest in waiting. Allah wants your certainty to remain even when nothing changes, because belief in His promise should not depend on your timeline. Stillness refines that belief until it stands independent of outcome. When life feels frozen, remind yourself that Allah's management is beyond human perception. What looks like inactivity is often a divine pause that prevents missteps. He delays movement, so your next step will be stable, not rushed. You may be ready to move forward, but Allah is ensuring the path ahead won't collapse beneath you. Stillness teaches surrender. It strips away the illusion of control and invites you to trust without evidence. In this sacred quiet, you learn to say, even if I see no progress, I know my Lord is still at work. That trust becomes an anchor in storms, a light in waiting, and a strength in surrender. The silence of stagnation humbles the soul. You realize that progress is not measured by activity, but by alignment with Allah's will. Even while you feel still, your heart is being shaped. Allah is teaching you reliance, gratitude, and resilience, qualities that movement alone could never build. In stillness, Allah protects you from haste. He knows that not every door that opens is meant for you, and not every opportunity leads to peace. So He allows stillness to slow you down so that you move only where His wisdom leads. This is divine restraint, a mercy disguised as a pause. When nothing moves, Allah still watches over you. Every sigh, every tear, every whispered dua is known to Him. He is not testing to harm you. He is refining your soul to recognize Him beyond the rhythm of results. The delay is not denial. It is a gentle call to deepen your trust. Stillness reveals how dependent we are on movement. We equate motion with progress, forgetting that Allah can advance our lives without visible steps. Growth in faith, clarity in purpose, and peace in surrender all happen in silence. What appears unmoving is often the ground where spiritual transformation begins. The companions of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, faced periods of deep stillness, no victory, no revelation, no progress in sight. Yet they held firm, knowing that Allah's plan was unfolding beyond their vision. Their patience was their triumph, and their stillness became their strength. When nothing changes externally, Allah may be transforming you internally. The stillness you resent is the classroom of your soul. Each day of quiet trust becomes a lesson in submission. What you think is waiting is actually worship, an unspoken declaration that you believe Allah's timing is never wrong. Stillness purifies intentions. Without constant motion, you begin to see whether your efforts were for Allah's sake or your own comfort. The silence removes distractions, revealing whether you truly seek His pleasure or only His outcomes. That clarity is a gift reserved for those who embrace stillness with faith. When you feel unseen and forgotten, remember that Allah never loses sight of you. Every believer who walks through stillness is being watched, cared for, and guided. He does not stop managing your affairs. When you stop seeing progress, His mercy flows quietly, like the unseen current beneath still water. Stillness is a time to strengthen your connection with Allah. You may not be moving outwardly, but inwardly your heart can draw nearer through remembrance, prayer, and reflection. When the world stands still, faith takes its deepest roots. Allah uses stillness to plant certainty so that movement, when it comes, will not uproot you. You also learn gratitude for small mercies. The absence of change makes every tiny blessing feel magnified. The breath you take, the sunrise you witness, the peace you feel in prayer. Allah uses stillness to shift your focus from what is missing to what has always been present, His endless care. When nothing seems to move, it's easy to believe that your prayers have gone unanswered. Yet every dua is accounted for, recorded, and responded to in the best way and time. Allah's silence is not neglect, it is precision. He gives when the heart is ready to handle what it has asked for. Stillness is also a shield. You may not see it, but Allah pauses your progress to protect you from unseen harm. The opportunities that slipped away, the meetings that never happened, the plans that stalled, each was a piece of divine protection placed exactly where it was needed. His stillness shields more than His movement reveals. The waiting seasons, though heavy, become the birthplace of calm. Once you accept that Allah is moving even when you are not, your anxiety fades. You stop measuring faith by change and start measuring it by trust. The calm that follows is not resignation but recognition that Allah never stops working for you. Even when everything stands still, the mercy of Allah continues to flow. The earth spins, the heart beats, and His decree moves with perfect harmony. What feels stagnant to you is still alive in His plan. So hold your faith with patience. The stillness is not silence, it is the sound of Allah arranging your tomorrow in ways your eyes cannot yet perceive. Every soul reaches a point where trust feels broken, when life's disappointments, betrayals, or heartbreaks shake the foundation of faith. You begin to question why it happened, why your prayers weren't answered as you hoped, why those you depended on turned away. Yet through that very pain, Allah begins to teach you how to trust again, not in people, not in outcomes, but in Him alone. Trust in Allah is not inherited. It is learned through loss, through silence, and through surrender. When everything you counted on collapses, you are forced to face the truth that no hand holds you except His. That realization doesn't come in ease. It is born in the depth of trials. Allah removes every false reliance so that your heart can rediscover where peace truly lives. The tests that break you are not meant to destroy you. They are the chisels shaping your faith, carving away pride and dependency until what remains is pure surrender. The test that feels like abandonment is actually an invitation, a call to place your trust not in what changes, but in the one who never does. When trust has been shattered, your instinct is to withdraw, to protect yourself from further pain. But Allah does not let the believer remain wounded without purpose. He allows the test to reopen your heart, to teach you that vulnerability before Him is not weakness. The very pain that made you cautious will become the soil where faith grows again. Trust cannot mature in comfort. It requires seasons of uncertainty where logic fails and effort seems fruitless. In those moments, Allah asks you to believe even when nothing makes sense. That is the essence of tawakkul, trusting not because you understand, but because you know He does. The test becomes the training ground for that kind of faith. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, faced betrayal, loss, and loneliness, yet his trust in Allah never wavered. His trials were not punishments, but lessons for humanity, that true reliance is built not by avoiding pain, but by walking through it with faith. Every believer who experiences disappointment is being taught that same strength. The tests of life are teachers disguised as hardships. They strip away illusions and remind you that control belongs to Allah alone. When your plans crumble, His wisdom becomes visible in new forms. Through these moments, you learn that success is not the absence of hardship, but the presence of unwavering trust within it. You may not realize it yet, but each time you're tested, your heart is being retrained. Every disappointment becomes a quiet reminder that people fail, situations change, but Allah remains. The heart that learns this lesson becomes unbreakable, not because it avoids pain, but because it has learned to place its trust in something eternal. The test that teaches trust often feels like loss. Allah removes what you leaned on so that you can lean on Him. He allows your supports to fall away so you can see that the only true foundation is His mercy. What feels like separation is actually connection, a return to the source of all comfort. Faith after pain is stronger than faith that never faced it. When you've walked through disappointment and still choose to trust Allah, your faith becomes unshakable. You stop fearing loss because you realize that nothing can be truly lost when it leads you closer to Him. The test that hurt you becomes the bridge that healed you. Through trials, Allah rebuilds your faith layer by layer. First, He allows you to feel the weakness of your heart. Then He shows you His strength through unexpected mercy. Each stage of the test reveals another side of His care, the comfort in your tears, the patience in your waiting, the wisdom in your unanswered prayers. When your trust is tested, Allah is not ignoring you, He is refining you. He knows that the heart which has been disappointed is capable of deeper love once healed. He wants you to trust again, but this time without fear, to believe in His plan, even after being broken by your own. That is how He transforms pain into faith. Tests uncover your hidden attachments. You begin to realize how much of your security was built on people, wealth or comfort. By removing what you thought you needed, Allah reveals that He is all you ever truly required. That discovery brings freedom, because trusting Him means no loss can destroy you. The hardest tests are often those that silence you. You run out of words to pray, out of explanations to give, and all that's left is quiet surrender. In that silence, your heart whispers what your tongue cannot. I still trust you, Allah. That unspoken faith is one of the highest forms of worship. Through the test, Allah also teaches compassion. Once you've known the ache of broken trust, you learn to treat others with gentleness. You pray differently, speak softly, and carry mercy in your tone. The pain you endured doesn't harden you, it softens you, shaping you into someone who understands the fragility of hearts. The test that teaches you to trust again is not about regaining what you lost. It's about rediscovering who your Lord is. You start to see His mercy in places you never looked before. You recognize His protection in what was withheld and His love in what was delayed. Every hardship becomes a verse revealing His closeness. Tests are reminders that trust is not passive. It's an active choice to keep believing even when doubt whispers loudly. You must renew that choice daily through prayer, patience, and surrender. The more you trust, the lighter the burden feels, because you begin to understand that Allah carries what you cannot. When your heart begins to trust again, you realize that the pain was never wasted. It was the tool that carved wisdom into your soul. The tears that once fell in confusion now fall in gratitude. You thank Allah not only for the ease that came after, but for the hardship that taught you how to find Him in every stage. Trust reborn from trials is not fragile. It's not shaken by delay or fear. It rests on a truth that life's changes cannot touch, that Allah's plan is always better than your own. The believer who has walked through storms learns that safety is not in avoiding them, but in knowing who controls the wind. Every test that broke your trust was preparing you to build it again. This time, not on what fades, but on what lasts. Allah's lessons are not meant to make you fearful of love, hope, or dreams, but to anchor them in the right place. To trust again after pain is not to forget what hurt you, it is to remember who healed you. And that healing will always lead you back to Him. Delay is one of the most misunderstood forms of mercy. The human heart craves immediacy, yet Allah teaches through waiting. What appears as stagnation is often divine perfection unfolding quietly. The delay you resist is the shield that guards you from premature blessings. Allah knows that haste can ruin what patience can beautify. His mercy is never absent, it only hides behind timing. Every prayer you've whispered has already been heard. But Allah answers not when you demand, rather when it benefits you most. The waiting humbles the soul and teaches gratitude for what is to come. If everything arrived instantly, faith would lose its depth and gratitude would lose its meaning. The delay is His gentle way of preparing your heart to receive without pride. Mercy in delay teaches endurance. It stretches your patience until it matures into peace. You stop asking, when will it happen? And start saying, whenever Allah wills. That surrender is a sign that the delay has done its work. Allah withholds not to hurt you, but to heal you from dependency on instant outcomes. His mercy molds your heart through time. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, experienced years of waiting before victories unfolded. Revelation came in stages, not in one moment. Each pause was purposeful, teaching perseverance, trust, and submission. Allah could have granted everything at once, yet He chose gradual progress. a reminder that even the greatest were refined through divine delay. When Allah delays, He is not forgetting you. He is preparing the conditions that your limited sight cannot see. The people you must meet, the lessons you must learn, the growth you must undergo, all are being aligned in the unseen. His mercy is constructing the future while your impatience wrestles with the present. Many of the greatest blessings arrive disguised as detours. You think you've been denied, yet you've been redirected. Allah delays to save you from harm you cannot perceive. The job that didn't come, the relationship that ended, the prayer that stayed unanswered, each carried protection you'll only understand later. Delay is not denial, it is divine defense. Mercy delays because Allah values readiness over speed. He knows that a blessing given too early can become a burden. The child is not handed a sword before learning discipline. Likewise, you are not given what you desire until your heart can carry it with gratitude and balance. Delay becomes the teacher of readiness. Through waiting, your soul discovers its own strength. Each day that passes without change builds unseen resilience. The believer who endures delay emerges wiser, softer, and more grateful. The delay trains you to find contentment not in arrival but in trust. That is the core of spiritual maturity. The world teaches impatience, but faith teaches timing. Allah's delay is a conversation between His wisdom and your growth. He knows the speed that will strengthen your faith rather than shatter it. The one who accepts this truth finds peace in patience and sees beauty in the slow unfolding of divine plans. Mercy also hides in the unanswered prayers that save you from yourself. You may beg for something that appears good, yet Allah in His mercy withholds it because it would lead you away from Him. What you call delay is His protection. What you call silence is His safeguarding. He knows what your heart cannot yet handle. In delay, Allah is teaching you to worship with constancy, not convenience. True faith does not wither when results delay. It thrives in persistence. Each prayer that meets silence is an opportunity to prove that your devotion is sincere, that you seek the giver, not just the gift. Mercy in delay reshapes how you view success. You begin to understand that speed is not a measure of blessing. Some of the most profound achievements take time to blossom. Allah delays so that you learn to build deeply, not quickly, to value roots over results. That depth ensures the blessing lasts when it finally comes. The delay humbles arrogance. If everything came instantly, gratitude would fade and entitlement would grow. By waiting, the heart learns humility, to bow, to beg, to rely. Delay is Allah's way of reminding the soul that nothing is owned, only entrusted. Through patience, pride dissolves and worship deepens. In the stillness of delay, you meet the reality of who you are before your Lord. The silence exposes your doubts, your fears, and your reliance on outcomes. Allah uses this pause to purify your heart so that when the blessing arrives, you are ready to receive it with wisdom rather than with arrogance. Mercy works quietly in delay. Allah does not only prepare the blessing for you, He prepares you for the blessing. Every closed door, every unanswered prayer, every pause in progress, all are His ways of shaping your capacity. You are being refined so that what He grants will not destroy you, but elevate you. The delay becomes your teacher in gratitude. Through longing, you learn to appreciate what you once took for granted. When the answer finally arrives, it feels like light after a long night, cherished, not demanded. Allah delays to ensure that your gratitude matches His generosity. Mercy also manifests in divine timing that spares you regret. Many people rush into what they believe is right, only to later pray to be freed from it. Allah's delay is that unseen rescue, preventing you from stepping into situations that would bring sorrow. His withholding today is your peace tomorrow. The believer who understands delay no longer fears it. They see the pause as a sign of divine engagement, not abandonment. To wait with faith is to declare that Allah's plan is still moving even if unseen. The soul that learns this lesson walks through waiting with calm confidence, knowing that mercy never sleeps. Delays test your relationship with Allah. Do you love Him for His blessings, or do you love Him because He is worthy of love? When answers slow, the heart must decide. Those who continue to worship during delay are the ones who have tasted the sweetness of faith. They no longer seek to rush time, they seek to deepen trust. In every delay, Allah hides a lesson that could not be learned through immediacy. You learn how to control desire, how to master impatience, how to surrender without bitterness. These are not small virtues, they are the foundations of spiritual peace. Delay becomes a means of education more profound than words could teach. When you think nothing is changing, Allah is often changing everything quietly, invisibly, precisely. The same stillness that frustrates you is the stillness where angels move, destinies shift, and prayers are processed. His mercy is not loud, it works in sacred silence. Every delay has a destination. The believer's task is not to shorten the wait, but to beautify it. Through patience, remembrance, and gratitude, the waiting becomes worship. You begin to realize that the delay itself is not an obstacle to the blessing. At times is the blessing in disguise. Mercy in delay also gives you perspective. It teaches that this world is transient, that everything unfolds according to divine wisdom, not human haste. By learning to wait gracefully, you align your heart with eternal timing, not worldly urgency. The soul that masters waiting finds serenity beyond circumstance. You understand that Allah's mercy has never paused. It simply took a form your impatience could not recognize. The delays that broke your plans were saving your soul. The unanswered prayers that pained you were perfecting your destiny. His mercy was never late. It was arriving exactly as decreed. So when your heart grows weary of waiting, remember, mercy often hides in disguise. What feels like silence is preparation. What feels like distance is protection. But the delay you dread may be the very moment Allah is closest, working with precision, love, and wisdom beyond your understanding. Trust that His mercy is not gone. It is only waiting for its perfect moment to be seen. There will be days when the path ahead disappears into uncertainty, when every turn feels like a wall and clarity seems far away, yet the believer walks on not by sight but by trust. Allah does not always reveal the full road because faith was never meant to be built on full knowledge. It was meant to be built on confidence in the one who knows. When the way is hidden, your heart becomes the compass of faith. It whispers, keep going, for your Lord is still with you. Trust is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to keep moving despite it. Allah lights the next step, not the whole journey. His wisdom unfolds gradually, teaching you to depend on Him, one moment at a time. Faith begins where certainty ends. If everything was visible, trust would have no meaning. Allah hides parts of your journey to test whether you believe in His guidance even in the dark. That hiddenness is not cruelty, it is mercy. For it keeps your heart anchored in prayer, your hope alive, and your humility intact. When nothing makes sense, trust becomes your lantern. You hold on to it through every confusion, believing that even if you can't see the path, Allah can. The light of trust doesn't remove uncertainty, it makes it bearable. It allows you to move one step at a time, guided not by sight but by surrender. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, endured years of uncertainty, yet he never doubted Allah's plan. His journey through trials was not mapped out in advance, but his heart remained steadfast. That is the essence of trust, walking through fog with certainty in the destination, not because you see it, but because you believe the guide is perfect. The hidden path is where your relationship with Allah deepens. In the unknown, you speak to Him more, depend on Him more, and feel His closeness more intensely. When everything is clear, you lean on yourself. When the road vanishes, you remember who truly leads. The unseen journey becomes a sacred dialogue between your heart and your Creator. Allah hides the way not to confuse you but to protect you. If you could see every twist and hardship ahead, you might lose the strength to begin. By revealing only the next step, He gives you what you can handle and reserves the rest for His wisdom. Every concealed detail is a mercy in disguise. When the future feels uncertain, remind yourself that your vision is limited, but Allah's knowledge is limitless. He sees the traps, the timing, the people, and the unseen outcomes. The way is hidden only from you, not from Him. Walking with trust means saying, even if I don't know, I believe He does. The hidden path forces you to slow down and listen. In silence, your heart becomes more receptive to guidance. What you perceive as delay might be the pause where Allah redirects your journey towards something far better. His unseen hand guides gently, even when you cannot sense movement. In times of confusion, many lose hope because they rely on clarity instead of faith. Yet true believers find peace in surrender. They say, if Allah brought me here, He will take me further. The trust that carries them forward is not blind, it is illuminated by conviction that their Lord never misguides a sincere heart. The unseen way humbles the soul. You stop asking for control and start asking for contentment. You learn that your peace doesn't come from knowing every outcome, but from knowing that every outcome belongs to Allah. That realization turns uncertainty into worship. When you cannot see the path, prayer becomes your vision. Each supplication illuminates the next step. Each remembrance strengthens the next breath. Allah answers not only with solutions, but with serenity. The hidden road becomes bearable because your faith turns fear into focus and confusion into calm. The hidden way also purifies your intentions. When you can't see where you're going, your only motivation is to please Allah. You walk not for recognition, not for reward, but out of trust. That sincerity elevates your journey, making every uncertain step an act of devotion. Walking with trust doesn't mean ignoring difficulty, it means embracing it as part of divine wisdom. The closed doors, the delayed answers, the long detours, all are signs that Allah is guiding, not neglecting. The hidden path is a mercy disguised as mystery. Every hidden road tests your patience. You may question, doubt, or stumble, yet Allah never leaves you. The stillness you feel is not abandonment but calibration. He is aligning your heart with His plan so that when the next door opens, you walk through it with strength and faith. Trust is not a feeling, it is a choice. You choose to keep believing even when your emotions resist. You choose to act with integrity even when no reward is visible. That choice transforms uncertainty into a form of worship, proving that faith is not dependent on ease but on steadfastness. The hidden path also teaches gratitude. When light finally appears, you appreciate it more because you remember what it was like to walk in darkness. You thank Allah not just for the destination but for the strength He gave you in the waiting. Gratitude born from struggle is the purest kind. You are never lost in the eyes of Allah. Even if the path disappears from your view, it remains perfectly clear in His design. He knows where each step will lead and how each hardship will heal. Your responsibility is not to see, it is to trust. His plan was written with knowledge beyond your imagination. In the hidden way, your patience becomes your prayer. You stop asking why and start saying, guide me. That shift opens the heart to wisdom. The believer learns to walk through life not with certainty of direction, but with certainty of divine presence. That awareness is what keeps faith alive in uncertainty. The unseen journey also builds resilience. Each unseen step strengthens your capacity for reliance. You begin to realize that even in confusion, you are being carried. What you thought was weakness becomes the proof of Allah's ongoing care. His guidance does not vanish, it simply changes form. When the way is hidden, reflect on the stories of those before you. Every prophet walked a path filled with uncertainty. Yusuf was thrown into darkness before he saw light. Musa faced the sea before it split. Each moment of uncertainty was preparation, not punishment. The same applies to you. The hidden path is leading you to a clear ending written by mercy. Trust is the lamp of the believer. It glows even when surrounded by shadows. The more you feed it with remembrance, the brighter it becomes. Allah's light never extinguishes. It merely asks you to look for it beyond your fear. The hidden way is not an empty road. It is the stage where your faith learns how to shine. When you cannot see the outcome, remind yourself that Allah has already seen it. The future is not unknown to Him. It is unfolding exactly as decreed. The believer's peace lies in knowing that every unseen path is already under divine supervision. Your task is simply to keep walking with sincerity. The journey of trust is not about seeing where you're going, it's about knowing who leads you. Even in the darkest paths, Allah's guidance never falters. The way may be hidden, but His presence is not. Walk with the light of trust, and you will find that what seemed invisible was always illuminated by His wisdom. Life will test your patience, your faith, and your trust in ways you never expected. You will stand at the edge of uncertainty with no sign of a door, no sound of an answer, and no glimpse of light. Yet that is precisely where Allah's plan is most alive, not in what you can see, but in what you can't. Every silence hides wisdom. Every pause carries mercy, and every detour leads you closer to what was written for you. You may not understand the waiting, but the one who created time does. You may not see movement, but the one who commands every heartbeat is working still. When your hands are empty and your prayers feel heavy, remind your heart that Allah is never absent. He is crafting something sacred in the unseen. Faith is not proven when everything is clear. It is proven in the darkness, where you walk guided only by trust. Keep walking even when the path vanishes. Keep praying even when the answer delays. Keep believing even when nothing makes sense, because the same Lord who parted the sea for His servant, who turned despair into dawn for the prophets, is still capable of rewriting your story in a heartbeat. So let your heart rest. The struggle you're in is not your ending. It's the birthplace of your strength. Allah is already making a way quietly, perfectly, and with love far beyond your understanding. Does Jalla, one day you'll stand where you once feared to fall and realize that every unseen moment was part of His mercy leading you home.